This is Operation B, the podcast about living with intention, building what feels true, and dropping the things that don't. A place where purpose meets practice. I'm Jamie Thurber, your host, and together we'll explore how to live with clarity, freedom, and alignment without burning out or losing yourself, because it's time to be who you're meant to be. Let's get into it. This episode of Operation B is brought to you by Premium Kitchen and Bath. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Operation B. Today we have a guest with us that I've known for a long time. We've been in the same orbit for like a decade probably. And it was just a random, I'll tell you about it in a minute, but it was a random Instagram thing that was like, we need to have a conversation on our show. So I'm going to let you know a little bit about her. So this is Emily Frisella. She's the founder and CEO of the Paper and Plan Co., as well as Women in Business Workshop and Women in Business Academy. She also is the COO of 447 Media and Arete. I know how to say it. And then in the moments I throw it off. Where she focuses on building strong culture, leading teams, and scaling businesses with intention. The thing about Emily is that there's no fluff. There's no bullshit approach. It doesn't really matter what the topic is, which is beautiful. And the passion that she has and what she's doing comes through in the way that she shows up. So I was excited to have a conversation about the way that she approaches leadership and growing businesses and still having a life and all of those things, because there's not fluff to it. And I've watched you do it, which is beautiful. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me. I'm excited to do this and finally that it worked out for us.
I know. It's going to be good. Well, to let you guys know what happened. So as you know, I'm doing my coaching business, not just doing it, but doing my coaching business and the brand and all those things. And then we, bought into the media company. We have a barbecue sauce company, Tony's company, all these things. I decided Tony needed a social media marketing platform. So now I'm doing that. And I was looking through Instagram and you know how you'll do the Q&As or answer people's questions. Yes. And the question was about how you structure your days. And the answer was, I don't. It's impossible. I wish, but that's just not how it works. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so seen. Because I used to actually preach a lot about structure and about how, you have all these things to do, so we need to structure it out. Yeah. And that's the only way that you can manage it. Right. And I was also a hell of a lot younger when I was saying that. Right. And only doing one business. So it was super different. And I was like, your answer, I can't remember all the back and forth, but I was like, oh yeah, this is why we need to talk on Operation B.
Yeah, it's true because I like you, when I was younger, I thought okay, structure. Well, that's when this was back in maybe, 10, 12 years ago. Yeah. I had just my cookbook and, and the podcast, and I was running Andy's brand, which was at that time was just the Otis and Charlie children's books and his podcast. And so it was very manageable for me to have more of a structured day. Mm-hmm. Well, then as my team at the media company grew and, more books came out and I was doing more things, the structure just kind of was that's a good idea. But, I think there is a premise to having structure. What you're doing that day. Mm-hmm. And I think I kind of had the switch of I have to have structure, but it's on a day-by-day basis. I'm structured, let's say, to work out, but it might be at different times during the day based on what my day holds. Mm-hmm. Because as you know, having multiple businesses, you're always pulled in different directions. There's always something that pops up literally every day that you're not planning on. And so I felt like I would be derailed if I had this very rigid structure that I had planned in my head. So now I just make sure these are everything, the non-negotiables for the day that I have to get done. And I try to build a structure around each day instead of it being where at 7 a.m. every day I'm doing this. At 10 a.m. every day I'm doing this. It's just it's got to be a blend and a bleed of your day. Yeah.
I think we set ourselves up for failure when we do that too. Because I remember feeling really shitty about myself when I would, this didn't work. And it's I did not have a successful day. And then I would stop and think about all the things I actually did do. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not matched.
Right. And having that type of guilt or weight of not succeeding in it is what made me make that change, because I was trying to be so regimented and structured previously. And then things would come up and then I didn't get to do this today, or I didn't get to get my workout done, or I didn't get to get these emails done that I wanted to. Yeah. And I would feel bad. And the thing was, I was I can't feel bad about it because I really did have a full day. Mm-hmm. So now I look at it more of rubber balls and glass balls. So we have, and I heard this it was a lecture, and it was shared on a reel, and then I went and watched this lecture, and it was really interesting because the take that the professor, whoever it was giving it, was talking about the importance of your life. And this is, I parlay it into business of how it works. So the original lecture was about you have glass balls and rubber balls, and it's about, meaning like your family and work and things like that. So if you have a glass ball will be like your time with your kids while they're little, or certain sort of like, moments of your people's weddings or whatever it might be that are kind of a once in a lifetime, let's say, type of thing. Well, if your glass ball drops, you never are able to get it back. But things that are a rubber ball, if it drops, it will come back. So there's things you can kind of let go of that you'll get an opportunity to do it again. So I loved that analogy as far as like personal life. Then I take it into business. And so I parlayed that into business where, okay, what are the glass and the rubber balls in business?
Yeah.
And then I kind of had to start building my structure around that. Like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to get these emails done today. That's a rubber ball. Boom, I can do it tomorrow because they're not urgent.
Yeah.
This is something I have to get done at a deadline. That's a glass ball. If I drop it, I might lose this opportunity. So then I kind of restructured as a glass ball, rubber ball type mentality.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's good. Because it releases some of that, because there is pressure there.
Yeah.
Something that I think, we know the world of the internet likes to try to tell everyone what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And I think a big piece of that puzzle is that you have to do it this way, right? And I remember years and years ago, like when Instagram first became a thing, before we were all on Snapchat stories.
Right. Yeah.
And then Instagram became a thing. But there was this whole idea of how you should do your day and how you should handle things. And I think a lot of the influencers, whoever the hell was posting, they basically were talking to people that, and when I say this, you guys, I don't mean to sound cocky because that's not the point, but I also know that Emily lands into this same category. That only applies to people who don't follow through with what they say they're going to do. So if you're someone who you can count on the fact, I know
Yeah.
I know this is a confidence that you have. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And if it doesn't happen in the time frame, I'm going to let you know why or when. And I can like hang my hat on that.
Right.
And I think as you get older, you realize like use that, like have faith in that, lean into that, and then let some of the freaking pressure off your back that you put on when you were like trying to prove something or trying to be perfect.
I also feel like that's a very irresponsible type of messaging to put out there because people are trying to preach what they do or what possibly works for them, or that won't work for everyone. It's like we were speaking before we were recording, I don't go to bed until very early in the morning, 2:30, 3 a.m. Well, so if I can't be successful once I get up at 4 a.m. then, because that's what everybody preaches. Well, the 4 a.m. people are going to bed at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm up hours after them, and they're up a few hours before me. So it's like, where is that at? That doesn't equate. And I think that it's almost setting a trap of where young people that are real young, not just in age, but in their journey, if they're, 50 years old, 60 years old and just wanted to start being an entrepreneur, they hear that type of thing from someone that they deem as successful, which the internet, you don't know if anybody's successful or not.
True.
There's a lot more fake than there is real. That now you are now basically kind of telling this person, if you don't do exactly this, you're never going to be successful.
Yeah.
And it is a way, it like will hold people back from that. So I just think it's, everybody, and it's just like with anything else in life. You can have guidance, but you also have to find your own way and what works for you. Because think about every business that you started. And me too. You don't know everything off the bat. You literally learn as you go. Yeah. And an entrepreneur, you jump and build the net on the way down. Yeah. So for someone to try to put some sort of a guideline or check mark of like, okay, you did this, good, you can be successful. That doesn't mean anything. It's your effort, it's your output, it's the reps you put in. Yeah. It's not getting up at 4 a.m. and doing a 87-step morning routine is going to make it. I just get really like irritated and annoyed by those types of messaging online.
It is irresponsible because there's no such thing as one size fits all.
Never.
And as I was thinking of this example, it is funny because I used to say this forever, and it just happens that you've made your own planners because of something similar. But in my work, working with various entrepreneurs, I never was like, this is the only planner that will work for you.
Right.
Never. I would ask questions. I would learn things about the way that they operated. Maybe they hated writing things on paper, so we came up with the best digital calendar. Yeah. Like there's no one size fits all planner. That's what I tell people. So it fits everywhere. Right. That analogy is across the board. There's just no such thing. And it is, I think it's just a quick buck pull. People think, I tell you this is the only way. Right. And then they do make money at it.
It's transactional.
Yeah. People fall for it.
Right.
So they make quick money. Yeah. It's not lasting money a lot of times.
No, it's a one and done, because the thing is that person, let's say it is a planner, they will have that buyer's remorse, and the thing is they're going to be like, this isn't what I needed. They feel stupid that they made that purchase.
Yeah.
But then they also feel resentful towards the person that tried to sell it to them or did sell it to them because
Yeah.
it's not what they needed. I own a planner company, and I will discourage people from buying our planners if I don't think it's going to fit their need, because we get a lot of DMs, and I handle all of our social media. And, those, we have a daily and a weekly, and they're like, oh, well, I like to do this. I said, well, the weekly might work for you if you like this. And they're like, well, does it have, this part in it? I was like, no, we don't add that in there. So maybe this isn't the right fit for you. I will discourage them because I don't want someone to buy something from me and me just make them think it's going to like, oh yeah, it'll work for you. It's fine. And they don't like it. Now they spent their hard-earned money on something that's not going to work for them. It's just, and I wish that more people, and I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, I'm just saying if there was more of that transparency instead of transaction, I think people don't realize that the trust that can bring to your brand.
Big time. Because I'm sure people that maybe the planner that you have isn't what they're looking for, but that doesn't mean they're not going to buy something else from you.
They usually
or recommend other people to you.
Yeah, they usually do. They say, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I just actually found your medium planner or your password keeper. I'm just going to get those, and that's not my intent. I just don't want people to have something they don't like. Yeah. And from a business standpoint, it's that, but also it's like, I don't have to mess with the return when they get it. And they're like, oh, you know what? This isn't going to work for me.
Or some bad review, which really isn't even about the product being bad. It's just their preference.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of planner.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I love that you have both, because for a long, at first I just had the daily and it worked with my schedule, and then it stopped. I was like, what the hell? And I was writing out my, I think the last month of the year, I was just using a notebook paper. Yeah. And it was working really well for me. Yeah. So when I looked again, I'm like, oh, and I don't know if you didn't have it before or if I just didn't see it before, but I found the week and I'm like, oh, I think this might work better for what I'm trying to do right now. Yeah. Because and I flow. I don't know about you, but I'll have a period of time where that type of planner suits me perfectly. Yeah. And then I go into a different headspace or something and I need another one. Yeah. So I'm like, maybe I'll go back to the daily.
There's a lot of people that do that. They're on a 6-month type of cycle because we come out with them twice a year for the school year. We call it the academic. So it's July to June and then a full regular January to December. Yeah. And there's people that they're like, I just like a new one every 6 months. That's awesome. I actually use both. I carry the weekly and then I keep a daily at my desk because my weekly is my macro plan. Yeah. And then my daily on my desk is a micro plan of really broke down into every little nitty gritty thing. So I actually use both, but you're right. The first 2 years, we've been in business almost 6 years. The first 2 years we didn't have a weekly because I love the daily, and that's what I tested the model under, and everybody liked it. And then we had enough requests from customers oh, would you ever come out with weekly? And there was enough demand for it, so then we did that, and it's stuck since.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I know you came up with that because you couldn't find a planner you really loved, right? Yes. You just made yourself one.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's true entrepreneur, right? You know what I mean? You don't find something you like, you just make your own. And so that's how I started. That's why I wrote my cookbooks. That's why I wrote I had the planners and everything, just because I wanted to solve a problem.
I love it. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, and obviously there are other people who had that same problem because people buy them. You sell out of them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't realize. They're like, do you restock? I'm like, no, because they take 4 months to manufacture and for us to produce, because we make them here in the U.S., but it's got to go to 3 different companies to get all of the components that we need done on them. So it kind of just makes its way around, and so it takes a while. So well,
and you don't want to get stuck with a bunch with dates that are gone.
That's the thing too. Yeah.
That doesn't help.
It's always the worst. Yeah.
So one thing I don't think I mentioned, and maybe I did, in your intro, is about the cookbooks. You have 2 cookbooks. Yeah. And then you have another book that you published about relationships in business.
Yes. Yes. So I wrote 2 healthy cookbooks back in 2015 and 2018. And just because I couldn't find a good recipe, a book too. That's didn't have crazy amounts of ingredients in it, or I had to find order stuff online or pay $40 for a pinch of a spice or something like that. Yeah. So I just wrote those, and then back in 2022 I published my book Relationships First: People, Passion, and Profit, because that's the way it should go. It's about people, your passion, and the profits come after that. And it's just a book about restructuring, about my core values that I have with the paper and plan company, how that works, how to over deliver for your customers, and how to look at things a little bit different. Yeah. Because I think, again, in the age of social media, I see a lot of young entrepreneurs in the game that are just strictly transactional, financial based. They don't realize that the foundation of your company is built on the people in your building and the people that are supporting your business. So it's most important to focus on that, of how you can have the best customer experience, create something a culture that they are proud to be affiliated with, and grow it from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think I can only imagine. So you started your first company before you, like what you
I was 20.
20?
Yeah.
And so throughout those years, if that's been the premise, and I know a bit about your story, like growing up on a farm, right?
Yeah.
So you had those values,
Yeah.
like hardworking values. And so I'm sure that there are plenty of people who have over the years come and gone and been customers in all these other places because of the relationship that you built when you were 20.
Yeah. I have customers that literally shopped with me when I was 20 that still buy planners from me now.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
And that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and that's 24. I'll be 44 in a couple months. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's for 24 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes from, though, because they know, well, if Emily's going to do this, like you showed them who you were.
Yeah.
And you kept being that person.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about it, like, because it's wild, but I'm super grateful and super appreciative.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's pretty cool. But then that's like living example, right, of why you wrote that book and where that actually comes from. It wasn't just like, I sat down and thought of this like principle and this is what I'm going to write about. So,
I wasn't even going to write the book. My publisher, actually, the publisher that wrote that I worked with on my cookbooks, they published those out. And whenever we got done with the last one, she goes, "Would you ever write a leadership book?" Because I had a lot of conversations with her through it.
Sure.
As you're going through like the editing process and the design process and all that kind of stuff. She goes, "Would you ever write a leadership book?" I was like, "Oh, no, I don't know about that. Like, I think I'm done with cookbooks, whatever." And she's like, "You should really write one." I go, "Are you serious?" She's like, "Just think about it. Let's set up a call next week." So she actually pushed me to write the book as a whole. Yeah. She goes, "You should really put some of this stuff down." Yeah. So I did.
The thing that's cool about your book that I like, so example, did you read Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey?
I did the Audible. Yeah, I listened to it. Yeah.
So even if you read the text, you hear it in his voice, like in your head, because it's the way he talks.
Yeah.
And so in your book, it's the way you talk.
That's what my mom said.
I was like, this is so easy to read because it's the way she talks.
That's what my mom said. She's like, "Honey, I just feel like I'm sitting down having a conversation with you." Yep. But thank you. Yeah.
That's good. So that helps. So whatever she pushed you at was a good thing.
I know. I was like, I'm not going to do this. And then as I started to once we got past like chapter 2 or 3, I was like having a lot of fun writing it.
Yeah.
And it was exciting because, we just like, I don't know. It was a good time, actually.
Nice. A different way to tell your story and to share the things you believe in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because,
doing it in posts. And I also know there's frustration in that too, right? In the way you're reaching people and they take it the way they want to and they may not. There's probably lots of misconceptions. A lot of people, they don't know your background and they make, this is something a lot of people do for me. They make huge assumptions about me because I'm marrying Tony. They think all these things. And it's just so funny. I'm like, I had a business before I knew him.
Yeah. I know. And people aren't as bad anymore. I think that's one thing though too for people just getting started. Like you might have like haters. I don't have any haters. Maybe people disagree with you or something or whatever, but it's just gonna go away. And like they're just there to troll. And there's actually a part in my book I say don't feed the trolls.
Yeah.
If they say something, say okay, or just ignore it, and that's it. But people, they have assumptions about like Andy and I'm like, we've been together for almost 18 years. Like we've been married 14 years this year. So it's like, no, like it's not like that at all. They always have their own like little like preconceived notions. Oh, yeah. And
it doesn't matter what the situation is. I think people do that.
I know.
So this is a fun question I was thinking about. So is there a business truth that you believed besides the structure part? Because we talked about that, but a business truth that you believed like 10 or more years ago that you now don't. I think there's so much to the evolution.
Your 5-10 year goal type thing.
Yeah.
I think that is a myth. When I was 20, that was something because social media wasn't around. Facebook had started for colleges and that was it.
Yeah.
So you had more of a plan out. However, now in entrepreneurship, you might have like your general overall goal or your vision. And that's what I share with my teams. Like, this is the vision for what we're building. And I tell them what it looks like at the top. Like, this is where we're working towards. It's not, we're going to be here in 3 years, here and there. Because technology has changed so much and it's rapidly changing by the month, by, the year. So I think it's very, very hard to try to have, this is the 5-year plan, this is the 10-year plan, because technology will be far, far, different now or then than it is now in 5 years. So I think that's kind of a myth, but I think that is because of the technology of where we're at now and the social media, the platforms there are, the different ways to, sell your products and be seen. So I think if I had to answer that would probably be it. Outside of that, I don't really think there has been anything because I think I've kind of been in business during this experience. So I think I haven't really locked on to any of those like myths per se.
Yeah, understood. And that makes sense too, because when you have a brick and mortar, I have one of my clients I've had for a long time is a hairstylist, and she started building her book of business long before social media was a thing. Like, she was handing out business cards to women that she saw in the store, or whatever. And so now we're teaching 21-year-old girls how to build their book of business, and it's so drastically different.
Yeah.
And it's just, and you didn't know that.
Right.
When you started, you didn't know all this was going to exist in the internet and all.
Exactly.
We could podcast. Like, what's that? No,
I know.
it didn't exist.
Yeah, and it's wild because it's like I got my whole start with the cookbooks on Snapchat because that was
I remember.
thing.
Yeah.
And then now it's like Snapchat's coming back, and now we have our business on there. So I have one of my girls who's in her late 20s. She does our Snapchat because I got the account and I'm like, I don't even recognize this platform anymore. I go, you got to do this. I don't understand it. So she like handles our Snapchat and like posts on there every day and does a little behind the scenes and stuff. And then I'll handle like, TikTok because we're just getting moving on. We've been on TikTok Shop, but now we're getting moving on like the actual like content
it's
stuff.
a whole different beast.
It is. It's just like, I don't have time for this. Like, I gotta like, make all this stuff while I'm trying to run a company. And
I know. I get it. Well, it was different because I remember.
You got to do it.
Yeah. I tell people a lot when they ask me, how'd you get used to or comfortable talking on camera? And I'm like, it was Snapchat for me.
Me too.
Because it was a 24 hours. And if it's dumb, it disappears. It's okay.
And it was just like on the spot. And I also think there was some sort of a beauty in the early Snapchat days where you couldn't, like Instagram, you can take stories and stuff and save them and post them later.
Yeah.
Snapchat, it was like in the moment, and so it was like, you're right there. It was like, you got to like post it immediately and that's it. Cause like I would do my little my tutorials of my
cooking
Snaptorials.
Yeah,
I would do those every single day, and I loved it. And that was how I got used to the camera, talking in camera too, because it's like. And now my sister will tell me, she's my CEO. She's like, that just is like so weird to me to do that. I feel sorry. I go, no, you really just get used to it.
Yeah,
and you don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah,
but I understand how it can be very awkward or like uncomfortable. But the thing is, we have to realize that's the game we're playing now, and you can feel silly, you can feel stupid or embarrassed. But that's part of the game. So is that worth you getting out there and making money? Yeah. Probably so. I'm not dancing on video or on TikTok. Right, I'm not doing those kind of things. No. But I mean, it's part of the deal. You got to play the game.
It's changed. But it's also the thing I like about that is that in a world where, there's so much conversation about AI and all these different things happening. And I tell people, because I feel like the people who are talking about that they don't have their hands in social media on a daily basis to see what's really happening. Yeah. And I'm like, those are not getting the views. They're getting tanked. And people are now leaning even more into the real people who are showing up and not super edited and polished, which is really the whole game the whole time. I just never had time to be super edited and polished before.
No, like, I want to post and go and like engage, and that's it. Like, I don't want to have a camera crew and then this big polished thing. I think the polished thing is over because now you see even like ads and things. People are getting rid of the like high editing value type of like commercial, and they're just doing like, hey guys, this is what I got, blah blah blah, like click here, buy it, whatever. Because people got tired of seeing that, because you think about it, we're sold on TV, we're sold online on ad, we're just oversold, everything was an ad. And the AI, like we say, you can see in the comments, it's like people like AI, this is cute, but AI. People are not with it for that. They want to see real life things, especially me when I see cute little baby animals that don't actually exist because there's AI.
I know.
I get mad. That's the only thing I care about.
Yeah, that was making me mad too.
That's why I really keep social media. Just look at all the little animals.
I was talking to a lady the other day and she was like, look at how dialed in my feed is. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she showed me, and it's like cute little babies and travel and baby animals. I'm like, that was it, the whole thing.
I changed my algorithm. I go in and I change, because if like people send me reels and I watch them, then my algorithm wants it. So I will go in and like delete it from my algorithm. I'll add things to my algorithm that I want to see. So all it is like it's business, it's humor, and like ducks, dogs, and like just like all that kind of stuff.
Yes, we didn't talk about that because that duck mom. You're a dog mom and a duck mom, and it's like the cutest thing ever. Your duck in the car is my favorite thing.
I know, people like the looks that I got pulled over one day, and I had one of the ducks in the front seat of the car with me, and I was like, the police officer pulled me over, and I wasn't speeding or anything, and I whatever, and so I get over, and he walks up to the car. I go, I have a duck in my front seat. He goes, that's awesome. Because I was taking her to the vet, and and he just like laughed and whatever. It was over, but Yeah, so she just cruises in the front seat. She's just looking around, but the looks we get is just like hilarious because people are like, they'll look at my car and they like do a double take, and she's just out there chilling out, looking at them.
She's like, what is this weird for?
I don't know.
Understand.
It's like, it's hilarious. Like, it's actually like very entertaining for me. I wish I put like a hidden camera, like a dash cam on to see, like, get people's reactions.
Yes, that's awesome. What led to the ducks?
So Andy had sent me a reel back in like 2 years ago this month, and it was of a little baby. It was a little puppy and a little duckling. Oh. And Charlie, our girl bulldog, she's like a little, we all tease, she's like a Disney little princess puppy because she's like so gentle and sweet with like every little creature. Like if she sees like a little baby frog, she'll like go to nose to nose that she never hurts anything. She's just very curious, but like such a little lover. And I said, we should get Charlie a duck for Easter. And he like hearted the response. I was like, that wasn't a no.
Like ducks.
And I was like, okay. And then I said something because like Tractor Supply always had them like around, Easter time or spring. Mm-hmm. And I said something again, like maybe, I don't know, a week later. I said, yeah, I think I'm going to go get a duckling for little Charlie for Easter. And he goes, are you really? And I go, I don't know. Yeah, probably. And then I gave him one more opportunity to turn me down. It was like 2 days before. I go, Saturday I'm going to go get these at Tractor Supply. I just got to get this supplies. I was reading this, da-da. He goes, all right, and said it like that. And because he's also a huge animal, like.
Sure.
We're like the worst probably together because like if he brought home an animal, I would never say no or to get rid of it. And he knows that I know that he would never say that to me either.
Yeah.
So it's like,
okay, so we're getting ducks.
Yeah. So I went to Tractor Supply, and he was out at our farm because he had a friend in town, and Andy had just got one of his tanks that he'd bought, and he was showing his friend his tank, and I drove all the way out to our farm, and I go, look, I got the ducklings. He's like, you did? I go, yep. And so I went home and got them set up, and we had 2 of them, and then one of them, unfortunately, after like 4 or 5 months, a raccoon got one of them, and then I ordered 3 more from a farm that was online, and they're wonderful, and they're known for like their ducks, so I bought those, and then we built them their little quack shack, and we adopted one from another farmer. It was about an hour away that, so we have our little quack shack we built, and they're fun. They're funny. They're like little dogs. Like I never realized ducks had a personality like that.
Yeah.
But like they come to you like when you walk in there, and they like wag their tails at you. Oh. You hold them, they like nuzzle in on you, and like you massage their little cheeks and their beak. They love it. They're just fun.
Little dogs.
Yeah, and it's like we just enjoy it because it's like our routine. We go up there every night after dinner. Like we call it duck stuff. We go do duck stuff. We clean their coop out every. Because you have to do it twice a day. Their water and their food. So we take care of them and love on them, and and just hang out with them. And it's just nice because it's like a detached for us. You know what I mean? It's like we don't travel a lot because of just work and things. And it's just we just animals are like our getaway. It's our favorite thing. It's like we just want to have a huge little like zoo one day. I call it Andy's Ark. I said we'll just get 2 of everything.
Yeah, perfect. It sounds good. Well, I love it. I think it's so cute because I'm on like a tortoise obsession at the moment. I just
like
can't.
The big guys, like the ones that are like hundreds of years old.
Yeah. So Tony told me.
One.
I know I want you so bad. Tony was like, that is a very rude pet to get. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, because it's going to live for 100 years. So somebody else is going to have to take care of it.
There was somebody online that they literally had to like, somebody inherited their tortoise.
That's what I said. I go, I will find someone in my life that would be happy to care for my tortoise.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So you can get them when they're smaller, but they like butt scratches, or you can also like spray the hose by their tail, and they'll like move.
That. Yes, I've seen that.
I'm like, what? Who knew?
That's crazy.
So cute. So eventually I'm gonna like make a little, because he needs a place indoors because when it's cold out, whatever. But I want one bad.
Have you ever seen that if people have like turtles? I don't know what like species they are, but she hibernates her turtles for the winter. She goes out and she buries them like 18 inches underground.
I feel like I did see this.
Yeah, she buries them like in her flower bed underground with the dirt on top of them until like a certain part of spring or when the temperature is a certain, right? And she goes out and she digs up the tortoises, and they're like totally fine.
That's amazing. I'll have to
wild.
do some research.
I had no idea.
That is wild. How cool is that, though?
I know. It's just crazy, but I thought they would like try to burrow or like suffocate.
Or go away. Like they would like burrow somewhere else. And then I'd be like, where'd my tortoise go?
They dig them all up and give them a bath, and they're good to go.
That's amazing.
And the one lady, she put hers in the refrigerator for a while or something. Yeah, it was like bizarre.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research.
Yeah.
More research.
Yeah.
I haven't had time at the moment.
Yeah, you're a little busy.
But tortoises are coming.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'll let you know. It's definitely a thing.
I used to think hot tubs were just for fancy vacations or luxury houses. But then I met Angie at Spas & More, this family-owned and operated business right here in St. Louis. She showed me how these master spas aren't just luxurious, they're about wellness. I actually got to try one out in their showroom, and it made me realize how much better I feel after a soak. If you want to experience what actually fits your lifestyle, go see Angie and her team in Sunset Hills. It's like test driving your own wellness. Visit Spas and More in Sunset Hills or online at spasandmorestl.com.
I was going to ask you about a couple things about how I know you lead multiple teams. And so with that, do you feel like all of them are different? Are they all similar? Do you have a different style for the different teams?
Different style for the different teams based on the personalities of the people.
Okay.
So my team at Paper and Plane Company, there's 8 of us. And so we're a small team. It's all women. We're all very much so like in sync with all the day-to-day operations. I mean, I'm hyper transparent with them with, everything that needs to get done. We do a lot of, different scheduling, things like that, because we are in a product-based e-com business. That is our one thing. And then I have a segment of those girls that also help me with Women Business Academy and the Women Business Workshop. So they will also work on that. So their days are kind of split.
Gotcha.
So I have my one main team. I have the Paper and Planko team, but then within that, I have the Women in Business team because it's the girls have been with me the longest and they've been to the event. They understand it. They know the ladies. So they help me with that. But I think it's also helpful because my sister, she is my COO. And we all are very similar in our communication styles. So it makes it fairly easy.
Yeah.
And we all get along great. And they're just incredible women. They will just always go the extra mile. Then my team that I have at Andy's, it's mainly men. There's 2 other women. I have my executive assistants that are on that team there as well. But other than that, it's all men. And so they all operate a little bit differently. And because we have so many different segments going, because Andy's brand is encompassing 5 different companies underneath it. Not First Form or Supplement Superstores, but it's like it's for Operator Standard, it's for 44/7 Media, it's the Real American Freedom, it's his podcast, it's 75 Hard, it's the Powerless, it's the Otis and Trolley brand. So there's 7 different segments underneath there. So that team runs a little bit differently because there's always, it could be, if you're on my team, it's like, okay, I need this. I could give you something for every single thing. And I have to align that with the next person because you have to get it done first so they can get it to this point. Yeah. So it's making sure that whatever's on our docket, it's delegated out to hit the flows right of what our vision is and our deadlines and things like that. So it's a little bit different there because we're running multiple different channels. We do a lot on social. We do a lot of e-com, events, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit, because the companies are different in what the outputs are, the inputs to the employees and the team are different.
I love it, though. Yeah. I love that. Because that's a tricky part, is just even doing one brand with all the things is something that a lot of people struggle with. But it is about that. It is about understanding, like you said, you tell your teams the big picture goal. Right. Like, this is what we're working towards, because then it can make sense why we're doing these things to add up to the end. That's
a major thing that I think a lot of leaders, and I was never perfect at this, so don't get me wrong. Nothing I'm saying is like, I'm perfect, but it's like, it's something you learn as you go, right? Yeah. Is they don't help with a why. And I've found that in all my years, people need to know a why, because you can't just be like, hey, I need you to do this. They don't understand, even just if it's like, hey, I need you to do this because we're going to run a marketing ad on this. It's, hey, I need you to do this, and I need it done by this date, because then this person has to proof it. We need to make sure we have this done for it. We need to make sure we have time to, I share with them, I always set a goal for when the work needs to be done. Yeah. Not because I don't think they're not going to get it done. It's because now I can plan everything else and the strategies based around the grand goal. Like, so we're goal set backwards. If it needs to be done by March 30th, I know this person's going to take 4 days. Boop, boop it. And I work it through the team in that way to ensure that we always can hit the deadlines and, be productive in what we're doing.
I think it helps a team be a better team.
Absolutely.
That way too, because
they understand.
They don't want to put the other guy in a bad spot.
Right.
So I agree. I've always I remember when I first was running an automotive shop at the time, and my boss was like, why do you explain to them the reasons? And I said, because when I do, they get it done. Right. Otherwise, I don't know if it's just not as important, or they don't feel as part of it, or what it is. But I'm like, I don't really need to know what it is. It works. Yeah. Tell them why.
I think some people think that you're over communicating too much.
Sure.
But for me, I found it's more beneficial to over communicate and have someone to tell me like, yo, I got it. I don't need to hear it anymore. Instead of, because some people are not comfortable asking why, or can you explain that more? Because they don't want to feel like, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm dumb, or I don't get it. So I will over explain it. And then when I'm done, I'll say, do you have any questions? And they'll ask me or whatever. And I'm like, okay. Or what I say too, that's been very helpful, is just if I say, hey, I need you to blah, blah, and they say, okay. And I say, if they have if I feel like maybe our communication styles are different, I'll say, okay, tell me what you just heard.
Yeah.
And then they'll repeat it back to me. And I'll say, okay, cool, you got it. Or I'll say, well, but actually what I wanted you to do is this. So it's a way just to have that open conversation, and it's not where I have to go back and, correct them later or anything else. And it's not wasted time. So by asking them, okay, what did you hear that I heard? What did you hear that I just said?
Yeah.
And it's not in a condescending way. I'm just like, let's make sure we're on the same page. And you can preface it with that. Like, hey, let's make sure we're on the same page. What did you just hear? And then go from there.
I remember there was a time here at the studios where I kept saying captions. And when I'm saying captions, they're thinking on the video.
Right.
I'm thinking descriptions.
You're thinking of the actual caption, like on Instagram caption.
Yep. And
Got
so
it.
I was like, oh, man.
Not the video caption. Yeah.
Big game changer. I was
Yeah.
like, no wonder no one what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah.
It was just because I wasn't communicating. And then I didn't ask the clarifying question as we were all just figuring out our way over here.
Yeah.
So it's just learning what you need to about your team, I think.
And I think it's also deciding what do you call that. I just went through something with this with one of my teams, and we had the same thing, and we were calling it two different names.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I go from now on, this means this and this means this.
So I would love to talk about all the women in business pieces. So I've been to the event a few times.
Yes.
And the thing I tell people, so before you talk about like your explanation of it, I want to say this because I think this is funny. When people ask me about it, I'm like, listen, Emily is extremely organized. And so when you go to this event, it's like a breath of fresh air because you know that you're going to have an agenda. You're going to know what to wear. You're going to know where to be, when to eat, everything you need to know. And it's so easy. She makes it so easy. It's like the best.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm glad
Yay.
about that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny. I think it's because it's all women that run it, and women are usually like, okay, well, what are we supposed to wear there? What's the plan or whatever? And it just makes it easier, honestly, for packing and everything else. But thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's definitely well seen. Like it makes it so much better.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, it's something we love, and we've got another one coming up soon. It's just so cool because the ladies are so cool. They're just like, there's no drama, there's no cattiness, there's no BS. This will be our 9th one that we've had.
Amazing.
And I just love it because it just, the first day we ever eat, which you've heard this story, it's like the very first one I ever had. I called Andy after the first night. I go, this sounds so stupid. I go, but it's like a movie. Like everybody getting along. They're like cool. And he goes, that's awesome. He goes, but let's see what tomorrow does.
Yeah.
And because the next day was good. Because the first night was like just the dinner. And I go, yeah, you're right. And then it was like that. And in the 9 years, 8 years, we've never had a single issue with any woman, cattiness, drama, BS.
That's amazing.
At the event, after the event, anything like that. And I just think it speaks volumes to the quality of women that come to this.
Yeah.
Because there are women that are just starting a business. Like they've just got their LLC and their domain. They haven't even like opened, they don't have the product yet or the brick and mortar yet. And then there's women that have been in business for 30 to 40 years that are coming because the young women, or if they're leaders or managers of the companies they work in, they come to help like the businesses that they currently like work within.
Yeah.
But it's great because the women that are young in their entrepreneur journey, they take so much information from the event and the community of women that are there to learn from. The women that are more veterans in business, they learn a lot of fresh takes on what's going on in the industries and what's new in social media, marketing, your IP and copyright trademark protections now with AI. And like they learn so much there. And it's all geared around information that everybody can take and use immediately. It's all tactical because it's, there's people at different stages of where they're at in business, revenue, structure of their business, what type of business, if it's a service or if it's a product-based business. And so it's something, because I want the ladies to leave like, that was the best money I've ever spent, and like we were talking before this, I always try to keep it just the cost of the event. It's not a profit workshop. Yeah. It is a community workshop. Like I want people to come that, if they want to invest in themselves and their business, I want it to make it attainable for them to do that. And it's my favorite 3 days of the year. It's incredible. It's
pretty amazing because you're not wrong. Like it really is a group of women who all different walks of life, all different situations, and everybody talks to each other and everybody's kind. And it's not a massive group. Like it's
I've always kept it like 125, 130.
And it makes it nice because you might not talk to everybody, but you're able to, you don't feel like, oh my God, this is super overwhelming.
Yeah. Because nobody likes that. Because then, especially if there's people that are shy, but I like it because you can still that one-on-one time because I want to be able to talk to every single woman that's there. And over 3 days with that amount of women, I can. If it's any more, I can't do it.
Right.
Because it's hard to have I don't want to have small talk. I want to actually like, what are you here for? What's going on in your business? You know? And so it's important for me to keep it very like, you know, intimate like that. And that's why we also like, we have like, you know, for 1 to 2 dinners, we'll have like assigned seating to make sure that the people are intermingling, because it's easy. The first people you eat with the first night, you'll want to kind of stay in that group. And that's not what we're like, I'm forcing you to go out and like make friends.
You do. Yes, you do. But I love it because it's true. It's just like human nature. Like everybody usually sits in the same spot every day.
It's like a clique. It's like, I don't want high school cafeteria type situations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's forcing women to get out and meet other people.
It's nice. But I see online too, like so many of the women, and then they start doing business with each other.
Oh yeah.
Which is even,
I do business with a lot of the women from the event.
Yeah.
And I've selfishly joked. I was like, I think I just started this to make friends.
Right.
Because it's women that can get what you're doing as far as like the mental load that you carry, the, you know, just how hard entrepreneurship can be.
Yeah.
And they're not there to judge you or anything else. They're there to like help you. But I mean, I can confidently say I probably 8 to 9 of the people that I work with, vendors or services, I met through them. And I use them for not just for my company, but for Andy's companies now.
Awesome.
Because I met them through Women in Business and they become some of my best friends.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm actually really excited for this year because of having different businesses where I'm like, ooh, I wonder like how this is going to apply. This is like a whole different ballgame.
Cool. Yeah. You'll be able to apply a little bit of everything to different segments of what business you're going to be able to like put the application to.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
and then so was it, you recently, I guess we could call it recently, launched the Academy.
Yes. October 1st, we launched that.
Yes.
Yeah. That was something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Like probably like 7 years, I wanted to start Women in Business Academy. And what that is, essentially it's an extension of the workshop. People don't have to come to the workshop and be in the Academy. There's public tickets that we sell for the workshop, and there's also like the ones for the Academy members. But the Academy is just for women that want to have a monthly group. It's an app we do, and I do like leadership labs. I do 3 calls a month and teach them something, you know, whatever it might be. It might be social media, branding, intellectual property, whatever it might be. Teach that. I'll have some friends come on that are experts in the field and do an instruction. We do a book club, like a personal development, business type book club that they can choose to partake in if they like. Because some women don't have time to do that, but it's an option that's included in the thing. And then we started office hours, so I'll open up some time for Zoom calls that I'm including in the app, like the pay for it. So it's like a monthly subscription thing. And they can sign up for one if they like, if they get a spot. And so I'll open up like 1 or 2 days a month for that and just go in and help them with their business of just like one-on-one. It's just really cool in the community that we have. And it's one of the girls here locally that is in it. She organized like a happy hour, and there was like 20 women that came to that for the happy hour to meet everybody in person and stuff. And it's just it's a really cool group to have. And I spend more time in that app than I do like on Instagram or anything anymore, just because it's like-minded people. It's like, hey, does anybody have a referral for this? Hey, I'm looking for this. Can somebody do this? Somebody's always got an answer for you. Or like, oh, hey, I got this. Or, hey, my cousin does this. Here's what they do. So it's nice. So you kind of have like this great referral system and women that they just get it.
And they've also real. Yeah, and they're not giving you a referral that they don't stand behind.
Exactly. It's not like if you asked on Facebook, you're going to get your grandpa's cousin's daughter's kid's wife that has never even used the person.
You might be okay.
But went to high school with somebody 20 years ago. Now they do it. And they don't know what their work is like. Whereas in there, it's like, hey, no, I use this person for this web design or whatever it might be.
Yeah. It's awesome. Well, I was excited when I saw it come out, and I immediately joined, and then my life did all these weird things. So I go in, but I haven't been able to spend as much time.
Yeah.
And I recently hired someone. I'm calling her my operations coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh, it's helping so much. So I told her the other day, she wants to come this year. And I told her, I said, yeah, I'm so happy. You're one of the reasons that I've actually been able to like go in the app and read things and do stuff. Like, thank you for that.
Yeah. It is a big change being able to, when you get to a point where you have somebody help you all the time.
Yeah.
Because when I just had the cookbooks, I had a VA and she lived down in Florida, and I had her for like 10 hours a month at first, because that's all I needed. And then I would increase it and increase it. And then I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I actually need like a real assistant now. So I hired a girl, and she was with me for years and years and years. And she still helps me out. She does like some photography and stuff for me now, but she had a family, and, and we just, moved away from that. And so then I hired someone else, and now I have a second one. And so one helps me with all Andy's brands. And then another one, she helps me with my personal brand and paper and Planco stuff. So it's kind of nice to kind of like divide and conquer, because it's too much for one person to just do.
Yeah.
And at first I felt so like awkward, like, oh, I have 2 executive assistants. Like, it just feels weird, because I'm very much so like, I love working in a warehouse. I love packing orders. I hate computer stuff. I hate all that. I hate technical stuff. I'm like a laborer, you know, I like that part of it. And so it was very hard for me to like relinquish some of that to them. But then once it started happening, I was like, wait, I have some life back. Like, I have time. I can do this now.
Yeah.
And then you get almost like, okay, this is fantastic. And then I'll check with them like, hey, are you good on your workload? Can you take on more? Or do you not? Is this too much? And they're always very honest. Like, no, this week, like, I'm packed. Like, next week, give me whatever you got. And because there's always standing tasks and stuff, as you know, with your girl. But it's just sometimes it's like they're gonna have heavier weeks, and sometimes it's not as bad. But I could not like function, I don't think, without them. They're like my right and left arm.
That's amazing. Yes. It's so nice, especially when you can find somebody who meshes well with you.
Yeah.
And I think personality wise has been really big for me, was finding somebody who, when I asked for something or I asked about something, they didn't just research it and then like send me an email. They did it. They did the whole thing. And I'm like, thank God.
That's how my girls are. They know, like, they know how I am. They know what I like, what I don't like. So they'll bring me stuff that they know I like. They'll like proof things that they know I like, you know.
That's great.
You know, it's like, it's fantastic. And my EA Amber, who I think your coordinator had spoken with, or organizer, she had dealt with her, I think. And it was great because she actually, we've known her for like 17 years. And I was looking for a housekeeper when we moved into our last house. And she was like, hey, I'll do it. She was working at, she was in marketing at, experiential marketing at Anheuser-Busch. And she was like, oh, I'll do it, because it was during COVID stuff, you know, and all the, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so she came and worked for us. And then she ended up leaving AB, and she became our house manager, because she was freaking a rock star. Like, I tease, she knows our house better than we do.
Nice.
Like, she'll be like, oh, the transformer for those landscape lights are back behind this garage. I'm like, I don't even know it. So it's like, it's hilarious, but it's like 100% true.
Like, thank you.
She
This
knows
is
the
amazing.
house in and out. And then I was like, I was looking for another executive assistant, and she knows us. She knows our personality. She's at our house all the time. And so then I you know, gave her a promotion. And now she's been my executive assistant for a couple of years. And now her mother-in-law, works for us now at our house.
Nice.
Yeah, so
amazing.
it's so nice. Yeah, it's great.
That's great.
People. And Brittany, the one that works for me with Andy's brands, she actually came to my very first Women in Business.
Oh, awesome.
And she's also a business owner. She's got a boutique that she's ran for a long time. She's opened a new one in Kirkwood here the end of the month. But she's helped me with that, and she's still going to continue to be able to do that for me while she has her boutique. It's just awesome, because it's like they're just growing and doing so much, and they're just great women.
That's amazing.
They're fantastic.
It's fun that I think a lot of people, well, we do know this, but I don't think everybody else thinks of it this way. I like that they don't have to just do one thing. Like, none of us have to just do one thing. You know, it was just ironic that who I hired also works for another Blues alumni's wife. It was just a random, we didn't mean to do that. But she's been working for a long time, and then she has another, like a spa that she does work for. Yeah. But she's doing like, that's great. Do that. Like, do whatever you want. Yeah. And I love that about it, because then also it makes me not feel as much pressure if I can't give her 40 hours, you know, currently starting out. But it allows, I remember being that person and working for multiple companies and going, this is amazing. I'm learning so much. Yeah. And I love that the world is more okay with that. Right. And that we have the ability to where, like, these women can help you run all the things you're running and do their own thing too.
Yeah, because I want them to be able to like do what their passions are, you know. And so it's great, because, you know, like, Brittany's got her boutique now. Like, I think her mom's gonna like run that, and then or work there on the daily, you know, and she'll go up there a couple of days because she actually lives in Springfield now, but she comes up for our weekly meetings that we have in the brand. And like, she has a lot of stuff with like Arete and helping sourcing for like products and things like that. So yeah, she's great with that. But it's like, I want people to be able to do what they like, and as long as it doesn't affect their work with me, have at it. Yeah, you know, go for it.
That's the beauty of it, I think. When you have something I was going to kind of wrap up with, I think, is when we talk about, and on Operation B, one of the things, so I transitioned. So when I missed one of the years, I got really sick and had to do through all this stuff.
I remember that. You sent me a DM, I think, about that.
And I paused everything for quite a while. But during that, I realized, I was like, this is all much more than just the doing. Like, I have to learn to be a person while doing that. And So that's incorporating it. And one of the pieces I think everybody's searching for, and you're going to probably laugh at me when I say this because I already know your answer, but everybody talks about balance, right? Like work-life balance. And I know that you have the honest answer to it, but I wanted to take it even a little step further.
Okay.
Because not only, I think when you're an entrepreneur and you're married to an entrepreneur, it's a little easier, I think, because it's not easier because life is insane, but you understand that with each other. Mm-hmm. Do you think with that balance piece, do you think that makes it easier for you guys and for you?
Yeah, and I think so. We actually, I think, have a step further of an advantage because both of our dads were entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So we both grew up seeing what an entrepreneur lifestyle was.
Nice, yes.
So we enter a relationship as both entrepreneurs, knowing what entrepreneurship life is already like and being married together. And,
nice, yeah.
You know, something our friend Tim Grover had said one time, and I loved it. And it because I have never believed in balance. I always say it's a blend and a bleed because when you own a business, the days of balance as an entrepreneur ended when the cell phone came out.
Yeah, no shit.
And
that's true.
So because it used to be you could just wrap up at night and that was it. You go back the next morning, you'd have a fax. I asked my dad one time because he owned trucking companies and brokerage firms my whole life. And I said, what was the biggest business innovation you saw? He goes, the fax machine. And I never thought, we're like, really, everything after that is kind of just a higher tech version of a fax machine.
Yeah.
You're transferring documents. It's a more like immediate sending of something.
Yeah.
But, you know, so what Tim said, and he said, you know, think about balance on a scale. You know, you have the old scale, you put your weights on this side, it goes up. If you have balance, the scale is at 0.
Yeah.
So you're not really progressing in either or.
Good point.
And I think that as an entrepreneur in life, there is going to be times where you might feel out of balance. But the thing is, it's like you have to look at the big picture of some people think balance is every day. They want balance every day. They want balance in a week or a month or a year, or maybe it's over their lifetime. They, you know, grind out for, 20 years and then they go and they're on a yacht for the rest of their life or whatever it is. It's all like a trade-off of how you want to do that. But I think just in the day-to-day, it's understanding the ebb and flow of business.
Yeah.
And I do think, because it's the same situation with you guys, you're both entrepreneurs, that, we might be out to dinner and there's a fire to put out now. And, let's just go ahead and cut it short and we're going to head home and get this taken care of or whatever. And, it doesn't happen as often or anything like that some people might think. But I think it's just realizing this is the life that you signed up for and this is a part of it. Yeah. And I think one thing that I would love to share is that if you are not in a relationship with another entrepreneur, let's say your husband's an entrepreneur and you're the wife, or vice versa, whatever. One spouse is an entrepreneur, one spouse is not. Maybe they work at home or they work, a classic 9-to-5 type job, and you have children. I think one thing that I think is so key that my mom was always very good at this because my dad worked and his office was an hour and 20 minutes one-way drive from our house.
Oh, wow.
So he was on the road 2 hours and 40 minutes every day to go to his office because, again, grew up in a farm, office was downtown St. Louis. And she was a stay-at-home mom because there's a life that my dad was able to afford for us because he was working so much. And my mom stayed at home. And because his office was so far away, he wasn't able to make a lot of like our volleyball games and after school plays or stuff during the day, and things like that. But one thing my mom always said is she would always frame it so well. She'd say, oh, your dad's not going to make it tonight because he's busy working because that way you girls can play club volleyball or you girls can play this or you can have this or whatever it might be. And it was like such a good perspective. At the time, I didn't appreciate it. It was just like what my life was. Like, yeah, I know dad's working because he's working. So that way, we won't have to have a college loan or we won't have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we weren't spoiled by any means. We're just like, upper middle class family. But she always was able to frame it in how what he was doing was benefiting our family. Mm-hmm. So we can go out to eat for here or you girls can have new clothes for this. Because I see on social media of both men or women where let's say you might have a woman say, yeah, their dad's not here because he's got to work, so your dad's not coming to your game tonight. Yeah. And they say it in a negative connotation, not even putting that like, oh, your dad's working to make sure that you can play this sport and I can be there with you and we can have a nice car to get there and pay for gas and then we can have food to eat after the game. So it's framing it in a way of like through that lens of they're doing this for us as a family. Yeah. Because nothing irks me more than someone, even if they don't have kids, dogging on the other person when they are working towards a life that you are a part of and is going to provide for you. Yeah. And, not saying that maybe there's sometimes you might have a tiff or something about it, but I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, it's that appreciation of realizing what an entrepreneur goes through day in and day out. It is not easy. It is not glamorous, but we're just like a special psychotic breed that likes to do it.
So true. It's so true. We went to dinner last night with a couple who the husband owns his own company. I think you guys actually know him. He has an aviation company and he is starting a new branch of it right now. And we know that. And so we knew he was there, but he didn't come. His wife was like, he's not in yet. And I'm like, he's probably on the phone.
Yeah.
We don't care. We ordered an appetizer.
Yeah.
We're just having our conversation.
Yeah.
And he comes in, he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you don't have anything to apologize for at this table.
Yeah.
Like, we understand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and he just was like, oh, and you could just tell that there was a weight lifted off there.
And
And
he's like, okay, cool. Like,
yeah, like they're not mad. They understand. I'm like, yeah, somebody called, because he had to like go back to his truck and like get his computer. Like, it was a question. He had to do something with it. Like, I get that. It happens.
Yeah.
And I think, so my mom and dad, my dad worked in the assembly line, and actually where First Form is now, with the Chrysler plant was there. And so he worked tons of hours there so that my mom could be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And she did the same thing. Like, I grew up very much respecting the work that my dad did.
Yeah.
And because then she could be home and be like the room mom at school and pick us up every day or whatever it was. Yeah. And she made it that way. Like, she would handle everything so that when he was home on the weekends and stuff, we could spend time as a family.
Right.
And I do tell people that story often because I think it's important that we learn, if we can have just a little respect for our partners and what they go through. Like you said, yes, sometimes they've pissed you off or whatever. But as a premise, just in general for people who are working each other, but there's just a lack, I think, sometimes of respect, and talk about throwing off the entire balance of a situation.
Absolutely.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And so if you can see, like, I know, especially early on, I'm sure in your company and then in First Form or, S2, it's like, sometimes shit happens that you need to do something about right now, and there's no one else to do it but you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that respect is like such a key point, because I think also social media is such a grab for attention and likes and like just engagement and get eyes on there, where I see a lot of people, men and women, they're disrespecting their spouse. Maybe it's a satire, like it's just they're being funny, but it's just like, why would you put that out there? Yeah. Like, they trash talk them or make them feel stupid or less than. I'm like, why are you doing that?
I think that one of the last things I wanted to ask you is, as a woman, as yourself, as an individual person, is there something that, because you've figured out your own schedule, what you work best at, is not trying to go to bed at 9 and wake up at 4.
Yeah.
Is there something, though, that you use or you turn to on those days that things feel a little more stressful, a little more frazzled, that keep you grounded and help you get through that?
Yeah. Aside just from like getting exercise, going for a walk, I have like a walking pad and a little walking desk in my office to use. But one thing I do is I have a phone setting on my phone. You can do like do not disturb and all that kind of stuff. I have a blank space. So I have a blank space phone setting, and I have it scheduled where only people that are like my favorites on my phone can call or text me. I don't get any email alerts. I get no other alerts or anything else. So when I turn it on blank space, which you can do that on your phone, you just set it up. And all I see is those 2 apps, and that's it. And that's all I ever have, because then it's like it takes the noise away, because we get noise of like dings and dongs of all this kind of stuff where I want to know what's going on, but it's not necessarily relevant in that moment. So that is something that I do. I will also just like have a dungeon day. Like sometimes, actually did this yesterday. I had so much to do, and like a very kind of an odd day where there wasn't like a lot of pockets of time in between what I was doing. And I was working. I usually work from home in the mornings to get like certain things done for Andy's brand, and then I'll go into my office. So I don't go into my office till usually like 10:30, because I'll work in the morning at home on his stuff where I can focus. All my files and things that I need are there. And then I'll go in and I will sometimes just like close my doors and go in that office. But yesterday I text my team. I go, do you guys need anything from me right now? They said no. I go, okay. I said, I'm not coming in today. I'm going to be focused on this. And I'm very transparent with my team when I do things like that, because it's not very often, but I'll say, I have this going on at this time. This is at this time. I have to do this at this. And I let them know my day, because I don't want them to ever think I'm some sort of like a distant, founder or leader or anything like that. I am very, very transparent with what's going on in my life. If I can't be there, like when I have my meetings over at First Form for my teams there, if it runs late, I will text them and say like, hey guys, I'll be in at this time. I'm running late. I'm handling this. Do you guys need me? And they know they can reach me, because the thing is with that is like, they understand that if I'm not there, it's not that I'm just like chilling out by the pool or something. Right. It's like I'm working on other things. So that transparency really, helps a lot. And I just think it's the blank space. It's knowing when you need to take a home office day and knocking stuff out. And I think also if people feel a lot of overwhelm, where it can feel like it's more up here, but then once you write it down, you realize it's not this big crazy monster. Part of the reason we feel so stressed in our minds is because we don't write things down. So we get stressed trying to remember all of the things we're supposed to do, which causes us more stress. Where if you just sit down and scratch it out on a freaking piece of junk mail, you're going to automatically feel better because now you're like, oh, that was it? You feel like a weight's lifted. You can now execute that list, write it down on, okay, well, this day I'm going to do this. This I can do this. Oh, I actually get the rest of the 3 done on Friday. Then you're done. And you feel so much better and lighter. And I'm not just saying that because I sell paper. I'm just saying it like it truly does work. There's science behind it. And people feel more accomplished writing things down. Again, because it gets it out of your head. So.
Well, and I think we loop on it otherwise.
Oh, that's like, that's
how many
the
times
stress.
have you, and you'll ignore a thing and then you finally do it and it took you like 5 minutes. You're like, geez, I've
that's
been
the biggest thing.
thinking about this thing for like a week.
I actually have a notepad and I have it framed on my desk. I've had it framed for probably like 7 years. And I made a notepad out of it when we started the company. It says, do first what you don't want to do most. Because most of the time, those things like that, those like, monsters under the bed type of, jobs or tasks that we have, when you dig into it, you're like, wait, I put that off for 2 months and it took me 15 minutes. We think it's going to be worse than it actually is. And then once we just dive in and do it, then you're like, shoot, I feel so like you feel like you did something like crazy because you realize I put that off for 2 months and it's been stressing me out. When I would have just dug in and did it, it would have taken me like no time. So it's like do first what you don't want to do most.
I love it. That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all your knowledge.
Thank
all
you
of your knowledge.
I don't know about that, but
well, it's just the experiences, right? That's the thing I love.
Absolutely.
I like to have people come on here that it's something I do is I don't try to find a guest every week. Like I'm not looking for that. I look for if I know that person and I can have a conversation that I think people who've been listening to me for a long time can get something from.
Right.
And also it's like, see, I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy. Someone else is doing it too.
So it's for validation, right? Yeah. I'm not crazy. Like she's too.
See, or we're just crazy together. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's always looking for something too, a different side of people that maybe people don't always ask those kinds of questions.
Right. No,
either.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's my goal always. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate it. It was a great interview.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you like this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up or share it to anybody that you think could benefit from it. We will list all of Emily's information below so you can check out all of her businesses and follow her on social because she does put out fun duck videos and you will love it, but as well as like informational good things too. So thank you guys. If you have any questions, make sure that you email the list below there and we'll talk to you then. Thank you for listening to Operation B, the podcast. To support this message and to support the show, please make sure that you like, follow, and share wherever you enjoy listening. And be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. That's the way to support this message. Thank you for being here and see you next time.